Hey there, Clashers, and welcome back. Today, let's talk about Inferno Tower settings. So today I wanted to talk about what is better, single target Inferno or multi-target Inferno. Now, I'd actually done a video like this before that is still actually getting quite a few views, but a lot of things have changed since then, and I want to try and go in more detail as to what is better. Now, if you're here for a quick answer, multi-Inferno is better. However, in general, you're going to have a better time if you have a mix of multi and single Inferno on your base. Now let's talk a little more about why that's the case. And after I talk for a little bit, we will take a look at some replays. I set up the same base in Legends League. One of them had all multis, and then the other base had all singles, just to try and get some defensive replays. I didn't get a whole lot, but I did get a couple of examples that we're going to take a look at. I also got a couple of examples from friendly challenges, just to show you guys, basically to illustrate what I'm talking about. Now, both single and multi-Infernos have advantages and disadvantages. I do believe that the multi-Inferno has fewer disadvantages than the single Inferno, but the single Inferno is still a valuable defense. Now, basically what you're running is going to come down to base building, but you're generally never going to run all three of the same, but sometimes people run all three multis. You would never really run three singles. That's not usually going to be a good thing. Now, why is that? Let's talk about the single Inferno for a minute. It has advantages. It has advantages in that it can melt big troops very quickly, including heroes, dragons, P.E.K.K.A.s, especially dragons, which are super popular right now. Super dragons, electro dragons, all the dragons. I guess except for the Inferno dragon. But the Inferno dragon is going to be more susceptible to the multi-Inferno. But again, the single Inferno, its advantages are it locks on, it cooks down a big troop super fast, unless it's either frozen or dealt with in some other way. Now, the disadvantages are there are more ways to counter the single Inferno. Either small housing space troops like balloons, hybrids still popular, you got Queen Charge Hog Riders, witches aren't popular, but if you have two poorly placed single Infernos or all three single Infernos, witches are actually going to run through your base. Another thing are spells. Freeze spell is going to shut down a multi just like it does a single, but the single is also susceptible to bat spells. It's also going to be brought down by skelly spells, so it has more spells that can work against it than the multi-Inferno does. Now let's talk about the multi-Inferno. Its advantages are that it hits multiple troops, it does consistent damage, it doesn't charge up, so it doesn't need that charge time, and they're not as easy to shut down. Basically, the only way you're shutting down a multi is if you're either taking up all 6 beams with high HP troops that are just getting tickled by it. So say you got 6 dragons being hit by the multi, that's really not a big deal. The other way to shut it down, obviously, is the freeze spell. That's going to shut down the multi for a little bit. Other than that, though, there's really no shutting down the multi until it gets destroyed. Of course, the multi doesn't do as much damage to big HP troops. That's another disadvantage. So it's not going to do really much to a Queen Charge unless you can get the multi to hit the healers. Then it actually does shut down a Queen Charge. It's not going to do much to dragons, it's not going to do much to super bowlers, P.E.K.K.A.s, that kind of thing. But it does chip away damage. It can, in the right circumstances, be bad for a Queen Charge. It makes Lalo more difficult. It makes Hybrid more difficult. Hog Riders, witches, it keeps them at bay very well. That's why we don't have a witch meta right now. And it's made things quite difficult for bats. Now, when it comes down to base building, there are quite a few things, but if you're going to run single Infernos in particular, you have to have them covered by at least 2 splash buildings. So by that I mean like a wizard tower or a scatter shot or even another Inferno tower that's set to multi. Although you generally don't want them to be too close together, because if you pile up the value for zap spells, people are just going to hit them with lightning and be done with it. Also, as far as splash damage goes, mortars are nice. They kind of help get rid of skellies, but they're not going to help with balloons. They're not going to help with bat spells. So the mortar is not really that valuable as far as splash damage goes. You definitely want a wizard tower or 2, or a wizard tower and a scatter shot that can cover that single Inferno. That way it makes it more difficult for troops to get the single taken down without taking splash damage. If you have just one splash tower covering a single Inferno, it only takes a quick freeze on that splash tower to get that taken down. Like if somebody's running bats, I know bats aren't as popular now as they have been, but I'm going to use that as an example because that's one of my go-to attack strategies is drag bat. If there's a single Inferno that's being covered by just one wizard tower, I can either tank that wizard tower with some of the other army, or I can freeze it up, and then my bats are free to take out the Inferno tower, no problem. If there are multiple defenses that are covering that wizard tower that can't be frozen together, that's another thing that's important. Then it's a lot harder to take that single Inferno down with bats. Now with all that out of the way, let's take a look at a couple of the replays. I want to show a good defense and then a bad defense, basically showing the advantages and the disadvantages of each type of Inferno tower in an example attack. So let's look at those. So for both of these, I didn't really get the bad defenses that I wanted to get in low Legends League, so I had to kind of create them myself to show them as an example. So this is an FC I did with my own base. I'm going to show how strong Hybrid is against a base with 3 single Infernos. So I will be sending in a Queen Charge. The 2 singles at the top do keep the Queen Charge from coming in from the top side of the base. So that is kind of an advantage there for the single Infernos. However, I can charge the Queen in from the bottom, get good value, and set up the pathing for the Hybrid to go into the core. And since these Inferno towers are not on multi, the Hybrid's not taking as much damage as they move through the Town Hall area. So we are going to play this. Let's put it on 4x for now. What we really want to watch is the Hybrid moving into the core of the base. So we got the Queen Charge going straight in from 6 o'clock. She's going to work through that first single Inferno. I dropped the freeze spell there. I didn't realize that single was about to drop, so right off the bat, I wasted a spell. Here comes the Hybrid. We're going to go ahead and put it down to 2x as these troops move into the core of the base. Usually with Hybrid, you don't want to take the Town Hall down, but in this case, it does work out. So I hit that Rage, hit that Warden's ability, put it on 1x. You can see this Hybrid is moving right through the core of the base now. First single goes down, the single on the right is not doing a whole lot of work to this big group of troops that are moving in to take it out. And that's where the disadvantage lies with the single versus something like Hybrid. So there we go, single Inferno is going to go down. We'll put it back on 4x because the rest of the attack is not really that relevant, but we will just show that it is in fact a triple. And then we're going to look at an example where the single Infernos worked out really well. So here's an example of some Electro Dragons. Yes, I realize they're not maxed out Electro Dragons, but I wanted to show how difficult it is for the Electro Dragons to move through the base when they're being zapped down by single Infernos. So here we go. This person's going to take their time using the lightning spells to take out air defenses. So we'll see that coming in. We're going to put it on 4x. We want to see the Electro Dragons moving into the core of the base. We got one coming in from the top side. We got another one sprinkling them in. We will see a group of them moving into the core. Again, not the greatest attack, not the best example, but we already see the single doing work. It takes down the Stone Slimer, and it's working on taking down dragons while they're trying to get through these buildings on the top side. So there we go, Electro Dragons going down. Same thing happened on the bottom side. We had an Electro Dragon moving through there. I think maybe a couple of them. The air defense working really well there with the single Inferno. So we got one single down, trying to send the heroes in to get the Town Hall. This person's just going to give up on the attack. So okay, not the best example, but you see how the single Infernos, as long as those Electro Dragons aren't chaining directly onto the single and they're being held up a little bit by storages, that gives the single Inferno a little bit of time to lock on and take the dragons out one by one. And when they're big tanky troops like that, when a single Inferno zaps an Electro Dragon, that's 30 housing space off the map like that. So yeah. Single Infernos, good against high HP troops like that. Now we're going to switch it up and see how Electro Dragons do when the Inferno Towers are not set on single. So again, this is a friendly challenge. I didn't have any good defenses to show the power of the lack of power that the multi has. So we're going to do kind of a similar thing. I don't do Electro Dragon attacks ever, and this was genuinely the first try and friendly challenge to get this done. And here we go. E-Dragons pushing their way in. I haven't lost a single one on the top side because the multi-Inferno Towers are just tickling the Electro Dragons as they work their way into the base. There we go. Get through the Town Hall. I dropped the poison on the enemy queen because why not? I think I had a triple Ice Golem in the CC. It didn't even come out because I didn't get the heroes in range. So that was nice, of course. Let's speed this up to 4x. The RC, that's another thing. The heroes can get through the Inferno towers so much easier with no spells when it's set to multi. So there we go. Triple, just like that. So we got one more replay to look at, and then I'm going to basically summarize everything. Okay, and then here we got this replay. Not a good attack or attack strategy, but it was perfect for the kind of example I'm looking for. These are small housing space troops going up against the multi-Inferno towers. We got witches, we got bowlers, we got some regular giants in there. So here we go. They're going to work their way in. We got bowlers and witches going across the sides. And not too long ago, this was like a genuine attack strategy. Town Hall 13, so I guess like a year ago. But we got an early warden ability. We got troops basically walking along the outsides. So again, deployment not amazing. That was a little bit glitchy there. And there we go. He has to use a freeze on the multi there. It's going to come back online. There we go. So there we go. We got multis taking out those skeletons. So all the witches that did go into the core had all of their skellies zapped. The bowler's not quite able to get that multi down very quickly anyway, and they did quite a bit of work as those troops pushed into the top side of the base. We'll speed it up. I cannot remember if the troops actually make it to the other multi. Looks like they did a little bit. They might come down that left side as well, but you can see the multis reaching out, taking those skellies down, and now we are pretty low on troops, and you can see clearly this had no shot of being a 3-star. So that's that. Just a couple of quick examples for you guys. So what's better, multi or single? So multi, technically yes, better, but the best bases are going to have some sort of combination of the two settings. So you're going to have either 2 on multi, 1 on single, 2 on single, 1 on multi, and it's going to depend on your base building. I'm not going to get too deep into base building. For one, I'm not really a base builder, so I'm not like at the high level of knowledge of base building. And for 2, maybe if I do at some point do a video more along the lines of base building, I'll actually reach out to some base builders that I know and get some information for you guys. If that's something you're actually interested, let me know in the comments down below. But for this video, yes, multi's better. Use a combination. And really take a look at your defenses and make adjustments based on what you see happening. But that is going to be it for this video. If you guys liked it, be sure to hit that thumbs up. And if you want to see more Clash content from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. Thank you guys for stopping by, and I will catch you all next time.